Does everybody have a chair? Everybody's good? There's a chair, green chair over here too, if anybody wants to sit in that green chair. All right, welcome, thanks for coming. Man, we haven't had this many friends in our house at the same time. It's
I don't think
cool.
ever, yeah.
Ever, yeah. That's pretty cool. Ailey, come here. Thank you so much. This is sort of an experiment that we're doing. I apologize. Let me turn this off.
Taking the big car.
So, this is something new that we're trying because we have all gone to different churches and different things, and we thought it was time to try a gathering of like-minded people who would pull all different sorts of religions together if we could. So, today's the first one, and based on what we're going to do tonight, don't think that the other ones will look anything like this, because we're going to try to do some things, some pagan ceremonies for the equinox and the solstices. We're going to try to do some Buddhist things, hopefully, just strictly Buddhist things. We're going to try to do some Hindu type celebrations and Christian type things. So we're just sort of going with the flow, and whoever is going to do the next gathering or whatever will totally do something completely different if they want to. It'll just be however you're guided to do. So we'll get started here if everybody's ready. Bob, you want to come on up?
May the vibration of this singing bowl center us, so that we all vibrate together as one.
I like to apply Native American smudging ceremonies. Anybody have a problem with smoke?
Just the door.
Just the door. Sounded like the dog whine.
Look in there, that cat amongst all those.
Oh.
Look like an ET all amongst those. In the process of doing an opening prayer, it's my intention to use the smudging ceremony to help cleanse the area, to also to advocate the presence of a divine presence here, as well as to set the mood. Get going. Before I get going with this, and I'm going to circulate a little bit because I think everyone needs to have access to some of the aroma. But before we begin, please hold in your compassion and in your mind and in your hearts the people in New England are having to deal with this weather issue that's coming up this evening, and they're going to need all the energy that we can possibly afford to them. Penny and Susan and I have, on several Friday night occasions, have gone to ceremonies or programs that dealt with all kind of spiritual conversations and lectures and so on. And one of the problems that we had with going to the Friday night session was that everyone was coming off of a 5-day adrenaline high, working all the time, and we had to deal with a bit of a meditation first before we got started to set the tone to allow us to be broken from that. So that we would have an opportunity to use, hopefully, as this smoke comes into your sinus systems, it changes, hopefully, the attitude that you have had about all the other issues that were going on during the week, and it helps you to change your point of view so that you can continue to enter into a state of being that is much more connected to perhaps a divinity. I'm sure several of you probably have heard this story before, but I think it's a good time to mention it before we get into actually dealing with the prayer, and that is a story, a Native American story that talked about a young man being instructed by his grandfather in regards to, his grandfather was talking about his entire life was spent in struggle between a white wolf and a dark wolf in his whole existence, and he had to struggle with that, he had to fight with it all his total existence, and it was really, they had really major battles over his emotional well-being. And the grandson asked his grandfather, which one of the wolves won? And he said, the one that I fed the most. And so as we're here, we hope that we are going to be feeding the wolf or the issue that is going to bring us peace and satisfaction, instead of having to deal with the rest of the world and the CNN who wants to dump the garbage on you all the time about all the issues that are happening. So that in mind, and we've cleared the air a little bit, so if you don't mind, we will begin now into a meditative prayer ceremony or attitude. May the words of my mouth and the meditations of our hearts be acceptable in thy sight, O source of all creation. As co-creators, we come to you this evening hoping to create a safe, loving, compassionate environment in which we can enter in a greater understanding of divinity and make this environment be one that is compassion and shared with everyone. Protect us as we co-create this safe environment. Surround us with thy loving white light. Keep us safe. Keep us aware that there are positive things that allow us to continue to grow in a positive fashion. Guide us. Allow your guidance to protect us as we share our many different directions of understanding divinity. Allow Spirit to be with us, the Spirit of our grandparents, the Spirit of those that were close to us, our spirit guides, our guardian angels, our totem animals, all of those that come to worship with us to keep us safe on our individual and unique paths into divinity. Connect with divinity with us as we enjoy this company this evening, and join us in creating an energy level that is so high that everyone will feel elated and enriched by the presence that they have spent here in association with each other. All things we ask in thy almighty and gracious name, so be it. Aho. Amen. So it will distinguish it itself.
I don't really have a preface for my prayer, but I'm going to call on the corners and ask the spirit elements to be with us today. I call upon the guardians of the north, spirits of earth, who cherish its wild ways. Rid the earth of negativity and let nature and beauty take its place. Thank you for your introspection. I call upon the guardians of the east, spirits of air. On the earth gently blow. Rid the earth of negativity so that we all may grow. Thank you for blowing us the right direction. I call upon the guardians of south, spirits of fire. Heal the earth with your form. Burn away negativity so that the waters will always be warm. Thank you for your light and protection. I call upon the guardians of west, spirits of water. Do everything in your means to rid the earth of negativity and keep the slate of all stones clean. I ask that this request be fulfilled, and at harm none, do as you will. Of your love I have no doubt, as within, so without. I call upon you because I seek to know, as above, so below. Blessed be.
Second reading, read by Mindy.
Hi, everybody. Matt asked me if I wanted to read something, and I immediately just said, yeah. I was like, what am I going to talk about? Because this is kind of all new to me. The past couple years, I've just kind of been getting books and learning about things and meeting people. So when I was thinking, I have to have a cheat sheet because I can't memorize things. I was thinking, what am I going to talk about? And I remembered a book that I read by Paulo Coelho. I don't know if I said his last name right, called The Witch of Portobello. And in the description, the book reads, how do we find the courage to be true to ourselves even if we are unsure of who we are? And I think that happens to a lot of us because we don't know the answers. And the book is about a woman named Athena, and she is on a journey to find her birth mother in a foreign land. And one of her teachers or mentors along the way is trying to help her find her path and teaching her about spirituality and that kind of thing. And she says, in regarding to finding her way, you'll only discover when you start to teach. And Athena says, well, like what? Calligraphy or dance? Because those are things she already knew. And her teacher says, no, you need to teach something that you don't know so that the mother can reveal through you what you need. And I thought that was really interesting. And I started to think about, well, what is a teacher? I've had teachers, we've all had teachers. And it's funny because a teacher can inspire you to discover things that you already know. A teacher can inspire you or light a spark of motivation for you to go out and explore yourself in the world. But we're all teachers, even unknowing teachers. We all don't need all the answers to be a teacher. We teach unspoken, we teach by our actions and our behaviors, and we teach, especially young people, how to handle and respond to the world around you. And as ambassadors of change, we might have a little bit more responsibility to be good examples to those around us. I'm sure a lot of you have been talking and might say, it would come up in a conversation about your spiritual beliefs and kind of look at you. Okay. So a lot of people, I'm sure, are familiar with being made fun of or things like that. And in those situations, I guess, is also a teaching method because it's how you handle those situations, how you respond positively to that. And I guess the one quote that I love is to never take anything personally, because that's really what you need to do. Because anything that's coming from anybody that might be negative is only kind of what Penny touched on, is just coming out of their own fear or misunderstanding. So I don't take anything personally that anybody might say. The second thing that I wanted to touch on or talk about is spirituality and religion. And I've always thought of them as two different things. You kind of always maybe think that you have to choose one or the other. And just recently, in the past couple years, I've read Amit Goswami and Nassim Haramein's work, which this is one book that I have with me, The Self-Aware Universe. And it's how consciousness creates the material world. And it's about quantum theory, quantum physics, which I'm not a mathematician. I don't know any of that, but what the concepts that he speaks about are really easy to understand. And understand that there's dualism is just an illusion, and that science and spirituality can coexist and are really almost the same thing. The root word for religion means to connect again. And we use both religion and science to help us understand the world around us. So it's a really good book. I recommend it. It's pretty easy to understand. It does touch on some math, but it's nothing too scary. For me, I'm an artist, so math is like the furthest thing away from what I'm good at. But it explains how consciousness is actually the ground of all being, and that consciousness manifests our material world. Quantum theory, I don't understand 100% of it, but it's very interesting. And I love how these scientists are starting to link science and spirituality. What I really love is Nassim Haramein's research on the unified field, and he also has quite a lot of websites and YouTube videos and a lot of the philosophies emerging that how to apply a complete view of physics and nature and religion and spirituality, and it just really links a lot of stuff together. So I have a copy if anybody's interested of some other work by them and some YouTube videos and things like that. So thank you.
So now we'll have the Bennetts come up and lead us in a Buddhist meditation.
Hi everyone. I have a couple things that I'll read. First, I'll see. So we were talking about non-attachment is one idea of Buddhism, and one of those attachments is the attachment of yourself as this person, this body, you know, limited by this life and this body, I guess you could say. And so I think I'm going to read two short things and then take you through a kind of a guided meditation that will reflect on that. So this first one is very short. It's just a very short poem. It says, "This body is not me. I am not limited by this body. I am life without boundaries. I have never been born, and I have never died." And there's a lot of Buddhist teachings that go with that, but I wanted to just kind of read another one for you. So this one's written almost like a prayer, which is kind of interesting in Buddhism, because most people tend to think of Buddhism as you know, not a very spiritual religion, more of a philosophy or that sort of thing, and it can be, and but it can also be a very spiritual path. And so This one is called the River of Life. Lord Buddha, I am aware that in me there is a river of life that contains my ancestors and my descendants. All generations of my spiritual and blood ancestors are present in me. I am their continuation. I do not have a separate self. I practice to let go of everything that I think is myself or belongs to me so that I can become one with this river of life. This river of life is flowing in me. My spiritual ancestors are the Buddha, Jesus, the Bodhisattvas, the holy community of practice, other ancestral teachers through all generations. That river includes my spiritual teachers of this time, whether they are still on earth or whether they have passed away. They are present in me. They have transmitted to me seeds of peace, understanding, love, and happiness. And thanks to them, I have a resource of peace, joy, insight, and compassion within me, even if it is still small. In the river of my spiritual ancestors, there are those who practice of the precepts, understanding, and compassion is fully realized. There are those whose practice of precepts, understanding, and compassion have shortcomings. I bow my head and accept all my spiritual ancestors, realized and not realized, because in myself there are weaknesses and shortcomings, as far as practicing understanding and compassion. I open my heart and accept all my spiritual descendants. Those who practice the precepts and understanding is worthy of praise as those who are difficult for me and have ups and downs on their path. I accept all my ancestors on my mother's and my father's side of the family, with all their virtues, meritorious actions, and shortcomings. I also open my heart and accept all my blood descendants with their virtues, their talents, and their shortcomings. My spiritual and blood descendants and my spiritual and blood ancestors are all present in me. I am in them and they are in me. I do not have a separate self. We are all present in a wonderful stream of life, which is constantly flowing and changing in a marvelous way. And this will be a short guided meditation. So Carrie's going to ring the bell, and I'll read a couple sentences, and then just breathe in and out calmly a couple times, and reflect on that, and then you'll hear me speak another one.
Body, speech, and mind, perfect oneness. I send my heart along with the sound of this bell. May the hearers awaken from forgetfulness and transcend all anxiety and sorrow.
I see this body made of the four elements is not really me, and I am not limited by this body. I am the whole of the river of life, of blood and spiritual ancestors that has been continuously flowing for thousands of years and flows on for thousands of years into the future. I am one with my ancestors and my descendants. I am life, which is manifest in countless different forms. I am one with all species, whether they are peaceful and joyful, or suffering and afraid. I am present everywhere in the world. I have been present in the past and will be there in the future. The disintegration of this body does not touch me. Just as when petals of the plum blossom fall, it does not mean the end of the plum tree. I see that I am like a wave on the surface of the ocean. I see myself in all the other waves, and all the other waves in myself. The manifestation or the disappearance of this wave does not lessen the presence of the ocean. My body and spiritual life are unborn and undying. I am able to see the presence of myself before this body and after this body has disintegrated. I am able to see the presence of myself outside of this body, even in the present moment. 80 or 90 years is not my lifetime. My lifetime, like that of Leaf or the Buddha, is immeasurable. I am able to go beyond the idea that I am a body separate from all other manifestations of time and space. Thank you.
I have to borrow your Kindle. I have to borrow your Kindle, I'm sorry. I'm just going to read something. Well, the everything that's happened so far has been perfect, just spot on. I asked people to do things, but I didn't, I gave them the basic gist of what we were trying to accomplish tonight, but I didn't say, what to do, what not to do, what to read or anything. And the thing that's amazing is how everything that's happened has sort of all flowed together, There's been a common theme without trying to bring a common theme together. It's come together naturally. So I'm not going to talk for a real long time. I'm just going to be very brief, and then we'll move on, because I think a lot has been said already that needs to be said. Something happened to me on December 22nd, it's my birthday, that has transformed my entire life, and I believe it's what I have been preparing for my entire life up until now. And for the first time in my life, I now see my purpose. So ever since I was a little boy, I was searching, always looking for what my purpose was to be. And then I had an experience on the 22nd of this year, and it's come very clear to me what the purpose is, what my purpose is. So I'll just briefly describe what my experience was. I know most of you have probably read it because I sent it out to people, but I'll briefly go over it one more time. The 22nd, of course, we were, those of us who we call, and I use this term as a term of endearment, those of my crazy talker friends and I were all preparing for the great shift. The Mayan calendar was ending on the 21st. The 22nd was going to be the start of a new age. So, of course, we didn't know what to expect. And so I did meditations on the 21st, and we did a family meditation on the 22nd here on the floor. And my girls were all there, and Jenny was there. And for those of you who have been in the meditation group with me before, I've always talked about the place that I always go to in my meditation. So I went to that same place that I go to, and I had an amazing experience that I couldn't really talk about for a couple days. That involved being with a large group of people, beings of light, things that I saw when I was a young child, and not only in dreams, but things that I saw that I think I saw in the room with me that I would not say were dreams. So I experienced all of these people coming together, and we stood in this place and we watched the planetary alignment happen, and everything that I knew was light, surrounded with light at that moment, and I couldn't see anything. And then when the light dissipated, there were 3 beings coming towards us, and this meditation lasted for half an hour in our time, but I swear it went on forever. And it was Jesus Christ, Mary, and St. Michael the Archangel who were coming towards us, and there's a big celebration. And at some point I went off and talked with Jesus. This sounds crazy even saying it, but this is what happened. And I honestly believe that this is real for me. Like, this is not some imagination of the mind for me. My spirit, I believe, was in contact with higher vibrational beings during that meditation. And so this is the information that I was told. And I'm sorry I'm sorry if anybody, wasn't prepared for the craziness of this, but this is what I believe. So Jesus said to me that he came into the world a long time ago, and he left and came back as spirit and lived in the hearts of humankind. This was the first coming. Now he is returning to live within the mind of humankind as the Christ consciousness. This is the second coming. He went on to say that all things are vibration, which is God. Well, I'm sorry, that all things are vibration, and when we begin to connect with the energy that has come from the planetary alignment, we will increase our vibration and start to experience harmony with the universal vibration, which is God the Father. That is what he came to teach a long time ago. He said connecting with this new energy will be very easy for some and more difficult for others. When we are able to connect, we will find many new worlds and levels of understanding. Jesus the Christ also said that peace will come to the world in 435 years. That is how long it will take the Christ consciousness to spread and become part of every human experience. He said that we must work on establishing the energy and state of mind so that it takes root. This work is very important. It is why we are here at this time. We must continue to practice our spiritual practices of every kind with an earnest heart. We must release our attachments to lower vibrations in every aspect of our lives, including the food that we eat, the music that we listen to, the relationships that we have, and everything that we encounter. We must project the vibration of love and understanding to everyone. Jesus said that we will have peace within, but that this work will not always be easy. We will meet resistance from lower vibrating beings and energy of every kind. If we remain focused on love and light, we will receive help from higher vibrational friends and energies. The changes that we make now will be a guide for others and for future generations. More information, I think, was passed along, and I believe that I'm not ready to understand that, and so it'll take some time to process that other information. But that was the message that I received on December 22nd. And since then, I have been transformed into something that my life has changed completely. The ability to release attachments to things has become very easy. And when I think of, I always have spirit guides that I work with, And now when I think of those spirit guides, or I think of this Christ consciousness or anything like that, I can very easily feel them close to me. So, for me, this is very real. I think those of us who are gathered here now are being called to prepare future generations for this shift that is happening. The shift has been happening for a very long time, slowly and gradually. But now we have come to a point where we are transitioning from the darkness into the light. And our vibrations as vibrational beings of energy are going to begin to raise and get higher. And we might experience things that are a little bit strange to us that we've never experienced before. But I think the message that I'm receiving is not only do we have to release our attachments in order to get to this higher vibrational reality, but we have to, one of the main attachments we have to release is the attachment to fear. We can search within our bodies and know when we are vibrating at a lower frequency than if we are vibrating at a higher frequency. If we have anxiety or fear or depression, or if we're sad, any of these types of things we can begin to feel within our bodies. And those are the result of attachments to lower vibrational energies. And when we begin to release those attachments, we will experience joy. And that is how we'll know that we are on the right path, that we are connected. We are meant to be filled with joy at all times, and we are meant to share love and light with everybody that we see. That is our purpose. We are called to raise everyone's vibration, everyone's vibration. So it doesn't matter if somebody's making you angry or if there's anything like that going on. Our purpose is to raise the vibration of humankind so that we can transcend this level of understanding. And so those of us who are here tonight are called to begin that work seriously in everything we do. It doesn't matter what religion we follow. It doesn't matter whether we are Christian or whether we even believe or accept Jesus the Christ, because that energy came to me in a way that I could process that information and understand it. But it comes to everyone differently. It doesn't matter if you're Hindu, if you're Muslim, if you're Buddhist, any of these things, if you're pagan, whatever you are. You know, Mother Teresa there's a Mother Teresa quote that says something, I'm paraphrasing here, something to the effect of, our job is to make Buddhists better Buddhists, to make Muslims better Muslims, to make Christians better Christians. So whatever you are, whatever you do it. I mean, really do it. Really connect. We're moving into a period where we will no longer attach ourselves to the dogma. Mick is a very wise man, and he points out to us that we do want to get trapped in the dogma of a religion, any religion, because that's an attachment. We associate ourselves with that attachment. It becomes who we are. If I go to a Catholic Mass, oh, I'm the person that goes to a Catholic Mass. But we're not. We are eternal beings of light that are having a experience in this vibrating dimension. We are beyond space and time. Everything that we see here around us is things that we are creating, that our minds are processing in the manner which makes sense to us. But that's not who we are. We are beyond that, and we can create for ourselves a world that will bring joy not only to all of us, but to everyone who we come in contact with. And eventually, we will raise the vibration of all humankind to the point where we will shift into the next level of existence, where we will not be physical anymore. So that is the message that I received, which I take to heart, and that's why I wanted to start this group. And the real purpose of this group will be solely to extend love and light outward to everyone, because we are all in the flow of creation. We are all part of that flow, the universal vibration. We are the universal vibration. Everything that we see, everything that we know or think we know, everything that we experience is universal vibration. So even that person that you can't stand that you work with, who makes you mad every single day, is the universal vibration. They are God the Father in Christian terms. And our job is to raise the level of vibration for everything and everyone. Plant, animal, human beings. So we have to release our attachments to the emotions that we have and to all the things that lower vibration, and we can tell ourselves what those things are. And we can help each other in doing that. And we have to bring the vibration up so we can begin to transform and make the shift a reality. So that is, I think, the only thing I needed to say. And so now I think.
All right. A generation ago, if you had made a comment that you received communication from some other source, probably would have looked at you with some skepticism, if not strangely. But we all, every one of us, or most all of us, accept communication from out of the air to us, and we think nothing of it. And we should be allowing ourselves to understand that there's always, whether it's the animals that are talking to us, or our spirit guides, or ancestors continue to talk to us all the time, but we don't listen. And even sometimes when we do listen, then we want to revert back to some conditions that we're more comfortable with. I want to support your statement about raising the energy levels, because there's a 40-year research that has been completed or more in regards to the understanding of raising that energy level. And it deals with the kind of things that are the emotions that are generated with the words that we use. If we use anger, we use fear, we use grief, we use those kind of things, those have been calibrated to actually vibrate at a lower energy level than if you were neutral, or if you had some understanding. If you had some understanding about what was going on, your energy level would be so much higher that those issues that you had before would be so much less involved. And that research has been done by a guy by the name of Dr. David Hawkins in his work called Power versus Force. And he has another piece of literature called Truth versus Falsehood. But there is no such thing as falsehood, as well as there's no such thing as truth, in that they're varying degrees along the same spectrum of what appeals to you properly. Dr. Hawkins created a map of consciousness that has illustrations, words that were used with that evoke emotions, For example, we look at fear that you spoke of. Fear operates according to a scale that he has established here at the level of 100. And along with fear, the God view of somebody who operates in fear is that God view is a punitive God, punishes you. Life view is you're frightened all the time. Some of the processes that you use a lot is withdrawal. You just withdraw from because you're so afraid of things. If you should happen to get angry, anger calibrates at 150 compared to fear at 100. So you raise the energy level just by getting to anger. And with anger and aggressions, you feel better about not being involved in fear because you have raised the energy level. So your comments about energy, tied with 40 years or more research on these energy levels, is so correct. It has been proven scientifically by this work of David Hawkins. You wonder why December, the month of December, always is a good time. People feel good in the month of December. It doesn't make any difference whether or not you are Christian following the Christian understanding of that month or you're associated with it, primarily because there's these words that are applied to that season: peace, joy, love, excitement, optimism, and all these things. Joy, for example, that they keep talking about, joy, that season, vibrates at 540 on this map of consciousness, compared to fear that was down at 100. So there's no reason why, there is a specific reason why people feel better, is because everyone is establishing that attitude, and they're using those terms, those attitudes that raise them to that higher energy level. My wife has me, whenever I pass these kind of things out, put with it a think cycle. And think cycle is a piece of literature that I have borrowed from Neale Donald Walsch, as Conversations with God. Neale Donald Walsch, and this happens to be one of his line of thinking that I put a graphic to. But in essence, as you were saying, as you think, maybe I better look at it myself. As you think, you create. As you create, you become. As you become, you experience. As you experience, express. As you experience, as you express, you experience. As you experience, you are. And the more that you like what you are, the more you're going to think that way. So the options here are just a matter of choice. You can even fake it, and it will work. You just keep doing it and doing it and doing it. You raise yourself to an energy level where you become, well, understanding is really high on the energy level. This map of consciousness at 400, because it believes that there is reasons for things. You can reason things out, and your concept of divinity is one that is wise, that has all knowing, that has all the answers. It's just, I want to tell you that you don't have to go fumbling around. I guess it's one of the reasons we call God instances in our class, where something comes to you, and I went down and printed a couple of these off and stuck it in my envelope and said, well, okay. But the other reason is on the 24th of this month at the Way Memorial Spiritualist Church, I'm going to be a featured speaker on the map of consciousness. So if you happen to be interested in what I'm trying to do, and I'm having a hard time doing it now, is to condense 40 years worth of research into 5 minutes or 10 minutes. But I brought these along for you if you were interested in pursuing that. It has the author and the data down at the bottom, as well as Neale Donald Walsch's concept on the back. And go along with Penny, I suspected, because you ask me every time we meet, or every time you email, what about an ant? What about a hawk? Well, I saw 3 red-tailed hawks this afternoon as I was preparing for this, and the hawk offers an opportunity for you to be told about an expanded view of everything. Not a dogmatic view, an expanded view that includes everything from a very high perspective. So I brought some totem sheets too, if you happen to be interested in your, that's the kind of thing that he depends on me for. But I really enjoyed that association because it has, by teaching someone you learn.
Yeah.
Of course, I've been a teacher all my life, but I learned that even more, that it applies to everyone. I'm really elated with the fact that we have a multi-generational congregation here, or sitting people to listen and to talk, whether it's the little one that was walking around with little microphones in her hand, and she was, hey, she was high on that energy level. She was up there in joy, and she was having a good time. So that level of energy is contagious. It sends out. We sit in here in loving compassion with each other and having this kind of conversation. I would imagine, well, I can't say, but the energy that we generate, the positive energy we generate, goes many miles out from here. So don't think that he has a hard time coming across with this, as sometimes we have a hard time listening to that kind of stuff too. But there's scientific evidence coming available now that tells you absolutely it's true. Absolutely it's true. One last thing. I had a friend of mine that is a member of the Krishna Consciousness. His name is Andy Frankel. He's a professional storyteller, outstanding, knowledgeable person in Krishna Consciousness. And he wanted me to read a book that he has. He's translating the Mahabharata into which is an ancient Vedic piece of literature. It's 3,200 years old or more. And the first part of it was really, really interesting because it talks about these celestial beings living in the celestial realm, whether you're talking about Greek mythology and they live, the gods and all this kind of stuff. Well, that's the kind of celestial arrangement they had. And there were 4 or 5 of them that got in trouble because they were messing around and they were trying to trick this one lady and they were going to steal her wish-fulfilling cow. And they got caught. Guess what their punishment was? I've been a school disciplinarian a third of a century. Go to detention, go to get suspended or whatever. Their punishment was that they had to be incarnated on Earth. So here we are, friends. We all are here for some other reason that we have to learn about and hopefully change. But I thought that was, I felt like that was pretty good. Now I don't have to be so upset with myself when I goof up or get mad or angry or whatever, because hey, I'm here to learn. So thanks for that. If you're interested in this, you're welcome to have this literature. And I really, really thank Matthew for putting this together because we've needed it. The friends that have missed our meditations on once a week.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah. We had some great meditations, didn't we?
Thank you.
All right. Whoop, whoop. There. Okay, we're just going to do a couple more things here. We'll wrap it up. Thank you guys. Thank you, Penny and Mick and everybody. I'm still kind of like, my head is hot. We're going to just do one last thing here, and then we'll have the closing words after that. We have good friends who couldn't be here today who really wanted to, Ananga and Robert Martin, and they sort of represent the Hindu influence or the Krishna influence, and they couldn't be here, so we're going to do a little guided relaxation, and then we'll just listen to a Hindu mantra a chant that's really intended to be done in the morning. But the way I look at it is that we are sort of in the spring or in the morning of our enlightenment. And so we're going to move into a much, yeah.
Penny was talking about the shift of the ages, which you're talking about too.
Yeah.
What was on the radio when we came up, do you remember? Fifth Dimension singing.
Yes.
Age of Aquarius.
Yes, we're moving into New Age.
The age of Pisces with its duality, them against us, compared to the age of Aquarius, its characteristic is unity,
Yeah.
oneness.
Yeah. So we're at the beginning of that period, that age. We're in the morning of that. So we're going to do this. So right now, if you want to, you can close your eyes. Hi, sweet pea.
What you doing? What you doing? You see the puppy? You can see the puppy if you want to. Yeah, oh yeah. Here, she's all right. Look at her. She's real gentle. She won't hurt you. She's real gentle. Go ahead. It's okay. Look. Oh, she wants you to pet her. Oh, we want to show her.
Okay, so close your eyes and just begin to relax here. I'll have you take a deep breath in, let it out. Now we're going to do 3 breaths where we'll tense the body and we'll relax the body. So when I say inhale, we'll tense all the muscles, very gently squeeze them. When you exhale, let that tension go. So we'll inhale and tense. Exhale, relax. Inhale and tense. Exhale, relax. One last time, inhale and tense. Exhale, relax. Now just relax into the moment. Just accept everything that's going on around you. Do not try to resist with your thinking. We'll sit quietly, listen.